They have been wonderful ringleaders in partnership with a number of organizations who are represented here today in really moving us to the next step. So to badly paraphrase Churchill, we're not at the end and we're not at the beginning of the end, we're at the end of the beginning. So we know that there are 3,300 acres of vacant land in the city of Cleveland, and we know that we will shortly hear our new population, and it will be less than half of Cleveland's population at its peak. But we're here today to say that the best days of Cleveland and for Cleveland neighborhoods are yet to come. And we have a really exciting agenda for greening our neighborhoods and for making them neighborhoods of choice that people choose to live in and can have wonderful, fulfilling lives. We know that if you live in the suburbs, land is a sign of status and wealth. And it should be no different in the city that access to open space can provide us, can be a source of wealth and a source of enjoyment. And we have here today a book to get us from where we are to that place and to move us forward on an agenda of greening. I'd like to take a chance to thank our funders, the Cleveland Foundation, the Gunn Foundation, the St. Luke's Foundation, and the Mandel Foundation are our four primary funders. There are others who we are grateful for their support, but we want to, in particular, thank those groups who have supported us in moving from an agenda that really focused primarily on housing production, that is one now of a more complete agenda that recognizes that we can also measure specific greening projects as well as other efforts in terms of our neighborhood transformation efforts. I also want to thank Kent State. Terry's here, and I think you're going to hear from her shortly. So Kent State Urban Design Collaborative. The Ohio State Extension, again, has been a wonderful partner in the Reimagining Cleveland effort. Parkworks, I'm sure they are here. So again, a really important partner and a great catalytic force in improving and providing parks and access to green space in the city of Cleveland. Again, thank you to CSU. I'm very excited here today to feature some people who are doing exciting things. You see a map over there of 56 projects. So again, that is the pilot effort. That is the beginning of what we now will take to scale. And we're very excited about that. So here you will get later this really beautiful book, which we think is not just a local a guidebook, but really a pathway and a map for the whole Great Lakes region, the cities of the Great Lakes region, for really maximizing our land and improving our neighborhoods in a way that really makes a difference in the lives of people. So I'm sure that many of us will use this book many, many times in the years to come. I encourage you to take one at the end of today's session, read it, treasure it, and use it, because it is really a great resource, and we're very excited about it and very proud of it, and we'll be offering it online as well. Anita Gray came up to me before the session and said she had to go to Denver to hear that Cleveland was a leader in urban agriculture and in greening. And indeed we are. We sometimes don't realize what a great job we are doing, but we should all be excited about the great things that you are doing. Again, you're going to hear about them today, and we should be proud of our efforts. Of course, one of the primary partners in making all this work possible financially and in terms of policy and every other way is the City of Cleveland. We want to recognize Darrell Rush, who is the Director of Community Development, but not limited to the Department of Community Development, because City Planning, the Water Department, and many others have been key in creating an environment where urban agriculture and greening and a sustainability agenda can flourish in the city of Cleveland. So I will now introduce Darrell and thank you for your great partnership. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here to share some time with you this afternoon as we have a warm day in February to talk about gardening and greening. So what I'd like to do is to take a couple minutes and talk about the connections and put the activity that we're here to celebrate today in a context. And celebration is good, particularly today. I spent most of this week in budget hearings, and those are an adventure, particularly this year. The activity through Reimagining fits within a broader set of strategies within the city of Cleveland, and we have challenges. The municipalities bear the brunt of economic turmoil, and our mayor, Mayor Jackson, whom I'm representing this afternoon, has maneuvered the city through the economic turbulence of the past few years. Now, as you've read the paper over the past few days, you've seen the battle lines over the budgets. And the Community Development Block Grant Program is a part of the funding of urban agriculture in the city of Cleveland. The Reimagining program was funded through Neighborhood Stabilization Program dollars, and those won't be awarded anymore. Community Development Block Grant funds are the heart of the funds that are used for redeveloping neighborhoods throughout the city of Cleveland, and those are being challenged. So I have been practicing on describing the advantages of our ability to use those funds to improve our neighborhoods all week as I've laid out our agenda to City Council for the use of those funds. The mayor has directed myself and other departments and directors to be wise with how we use our funds and our resources, to leverage our resources, and to lead. And I underscore, because those who are involved in the programs that are on display around the room, you're leading. A critical component in community strengthening is residents and neighborhood organizations. They are the bedrock of the activity of strengthening neighborhoods. And this program is an example of what outcome and what can be produced from that. There are a set of strategies that were put in place to help to strengthen Cleveland's neighborhoods, providing citywide services, but at the same time focusing activity so that it can have greater impact. Cleveland made a conscious decision not to mothball parts of the neighborhood and parts of the city, but instead looked to urban agriculture to try to reutilize vacant land on an interim and long-term basis. Cleveland also used that to complement the redevelopment of housing, particularly housing for low and moderate income families. All of these pieces fit together to recreate and strengthen the fabric of Cleveland's neighborhoods. That is another reason to celebrate today, because these efforts through the Reimagining program, which involve community gardens and market gardens and pocket parks and other kinds of activities, greatly enhance the value and the fabric of our communities. As Joe mentioned, the community development activity in the city of Cleveland has long been held to be a successful model across the country. The strategies that we use here and the way that we engage and create partnerships and the ways that we connect with and seek out and utilize the strength and the value of our residents is critical to our being able to push forward with those strategies. As we provide housing, a living environment that is attractive, and neighborhoods that people want to visit and live within. The Reimagining effort, with the leadership that the participants are demonstrating, are not the only people involved in pushing the envelope around urban agriculture and alternative uses and innovative uses of vacant land. For example, the city of Cleveland is rebuilding a school in the Lee Harvard neighborhood, and they did a swap with the Department of Parks and Rec. And the former park space is being used to install a geothermal heating system that will heat the elementary school. Another elementary school was deconstructed 2 years ago off of 55th Street, Stenard. That site is now being used as a market garden. It's being leased to the Cuyahoga County Board of Mental Disabilities, and the garden will train disabled people to operate a market garden. So the leadership cannot be contained within a small group of people. It expands, it radiates out as a pebble dropped in a pond. So these efforts that we're celebrating today are integrally related to the strategies that are being used throughout the city to strengthen our neighborhoods. So for those of you who are exercising your leadership and leading that charge, I congratulate you and I thank you. Good afternoon.